Hi, this is Deidre McGrath at the MSU Horticulture Gardens, and today I'm going to show you 3 succulent varieties that I propagated today. The first one being this Hatiora salicornoides, and then I did 2 Euphorbia, this Euphorbia milii, Dwarf Apache, and this Euphorbia tithymaloides, or devil's backbone. So I started with the devil's backbone. This is a pretty interesting succulent. I just started growing it for the first time about a year ago. And this is the variegated form, so it has, green and white and this beautiful pink in the coloration as well. I have had trouble in the greenhouse with these getting powdery mildew, which happens to a very small subset of succulents for me, and this is one of them, I guess. So I'll just have to keep an eye on that. So I'm going through all the succulent cuttings, and now I moved on to the Hatiora, or dancing bones, and this is kind of like a ripsalis plant. It's a really weird one. I have not had a lot of success propagating it. Maybe about 50% of the cuttings will root for me, so that's why I'm going to start a whole bunch of them. And now I'm moving on to the Euphorbia milii, or crown of thorns, and this is also a plant that I've only really grown for about a year, and it has beautiful flowers. It doesn't flower year-round, but will produce some flushes of flowers at various times of the year. And I made some little pilot holes in the soil because these are kind of blunt-ended cuttings and were a little hard to push into the soil. So I'm just going to go through all of these, and because these all need the same water requirements and light requirements, I'm just putting them together in a tray. So here's the finished Euphorbia milii cuttings, and then here's the devil's backbone and dancing bones. Next, I wanted to show you the stock plants that I took all of these cuttings from, because it's kind of funny to see what they look like after I've harvested from them. So they look a little sad. I try to leave enough that they can keep growing and producing more cuttings for us. But sometimes I cut them back almost to the base, but they pretty much always grow back. And I got a little distracted while I was in the stock plant house, and I noticed some plants that were flowering, like this Aloeanopsis. And here's a really tiny little flower on a cactus. I don't actually know what variety of cactus this is. And here's another little cactus flower, and here's a Mammillaria gracilis fragilis, little tiny flowers. Here's Trichodiadema densum, which has beautiful little hot pink flowers. This is ripsalis, which has kind of inconspicuous little yellow flowers. And here's a little Christmas cactus, or Schlumbergera, and it's not uncommon for them to continue throwing out blooms for quite a while after the holiday season. And I also noticed most of our foliage plant begonias are blooming. They tend to bloom in the winter, so if you have these as houseplants, they're going to be foliage, beautiful foliage most of the year, and then in the wintertime, they might treat you to some of these beautiful flower stalks, and they're all really unique. They have different colors and different petals, and it's just a nice little surprise in the middle of winter. So I hope you enjoyed looking at the plants I propagated and just a little peek at all the blooming plants in our stock plant house. I think this little cutie Aloeanopsis is probably my favorite.